Have you ever wondered what or how you should actually be doing an active recovery day, or if you should implement it or not? Well, I'm gonna break down everything that goes into an active recovery day so you can get the most out of it. And this is the one that we use inside of our peak performance program to help all of our members recover quickly from their workouts so they can train hard again in the following days and following weeks. So what's up, I'm Nick Lyden. I'm a certified strength and conditioning coach. I coach at Chaffee Community College. I also run peak performance program and athlete academy, but let's dive right into it. So the first thing is that this should take anywhere from 35, maybe 45 minutes up to an hour tops. We don't want this to take so long, or this isn't meant to be intense. This is meant to just get the body moving, kind of work out some kinks, right? And start to feel good. Again, our body to adapt, right? To get the results we want, whether it's speed, power, strength, building muscle, it needs to recover. So this day isn't meant to get you sore, isn't meant to get you tired, because we need the recovery process to be highlighted and elevated, and not for this to actually turn into a workout where you're sore and you're actually having to recover on top of your workouts and get some recovery off of this. So I want to start with a dynamic warm-up, and this is anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. So when doing a dynamic warm-up, typically I go through a very simple sequence where I'm doing some walking RDLs, I'm doing some perfect stretch, or what is known as world's greatest stretch. Then I'm going into a walking quad stretch. Maybe I'll throw another walking quad plus an RDL in there. Then I'll be going to a lateral lunge to a hip flexor stretch, right? I'll be doing some very simple, very basic. I'll do some upper body work. Okay, I'll maybe do some band pull aparts or some overhead distractions. Or one thing that I like to use in this case is what we call our hip flow. So the hip flow is just as it's seen, it's a combination between yoga, some martial art practices, some sports performance stretches, and a dynamic warm-up. Everything's 5 to 6 reps each side. In the beginning, it takes a little bit to get used to, but after you get it down, it should only take 5 to 7 minutes in order to get this happening. Honestly, when I do this hip flow and I do it consistently, I feel fucking amazing before every workout. You can use it during your active recovery sequence or active recovery day, or you can use it as a part of your warm-up prior to some of your lifts. It's a really great exercise, or a really great sequence of exercises to open up your hips and your whole entire body with it. So after we get our dynamic warm-up, we got the blood flowing, okay, our core temperature's up. Next, we're gonna get into some myofascial work. So all that means, think of like foam rolling, right? So you can foam roll if you like to. There's pros and cons to it. There's research that says it's great, research that says it's not. But again, it's personal. If it makes you feel better, it makes you feel like you've recovered greater from it, it's going to help. If it doesn't, don't worry about it, okay? But if you're doing some foam rolling, we want to make sure that we are going through the entire body. So typically I'll start with the calves, single, and I'll go up and down 5 to 10 times. I'll rotate side to side. I'll go both legs, and what I'm doing as I work up my entire body is I am trying to find these little trigger points, right? Those little tender trigger points. And when I find those, typically that's when the fascia, which is surrounding the muscles, that kind of, it's like connective tissue that surrounds the muscles, it gets kind of bunched up. I'm looking to find those trigger points so then later I can work those out a little bit, okay? So when I find those, typically I'll spend a little bit more time on them, and then I'll flex and extend and go side to side, like rotate on that actual point to help break it open a little bit. After that, I'm gonna be moving up to my quads. I'm making sure I'm getting the inner part of the quad, right on the quad, and a little bit on the side in the TFL area. Again, same thing, both legs up and down 5 to 10 times. Then I'm gonna move to my glutes and my hips. I'm gonna go straight on one glute, up and down. I'm gonna go over to the side a little bit to get the glute meat a little bit more, and I'll even go into the hip and hip flexors a little bit during that point before moving to my back. Then I'll be going specifically straight into the lats, and then I'll work a little bit of the chest, or anything that maybe I feel needs a little bit more. Again, this is like my kind of base, like roll through opening up, because then after that PNF stretch, we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into some of the ART, which is active release technique. So when I'm doing this, I'm gonna be using those trigger points again, but I'm gonna be using a smaller implement like a lacrosse ball, tennis ball. I personally like the softball of the most, but you're gonna go to those trigger points on those specific points, and you're gonna, again, flex and extend, especially on the calves. People's calves are really messed up. I know mine are. In the glutes a lot, I'll spend some more time, but you're also, with this smaller implement, you're gonna be able to hit the upper body a little bit better. So into the shoulder blades, into the lats, into the front delt, which are extremely overused for a lot of people, into the traps. And throughout all of this, I am trying to, again, take my arms and my body and my legs through full range of motion. So whether that's flexion, extension, adduction out to the side, rotating left and right, I'm essentially, when we're doing this, the muscle, right, is here. We're placing that ball on it, so it's stretching it out a little bit, and then I'm taking the muscle through that range of motion, so we're opening up even a little bit more with that. After I've gone through the self-myofascial release, this is the big key that I think a lot of people mess up, and I think if a lot of people implemented this type of stretching, it's gonna help your mobility more than anything, and it's PNF stretching plus isometric holds, okay? So when we think about mobility, we need to understand that mobility is range of motion under tension, okay? Flexibility is just range of motion, passive, right? We can stretch our arm or stretch our leg, but that's not really doing much for us in terms of athletic performance or performance in any sort of sport or weightlifting, CrossFit, whatever you do. Okay, we need to have that range of motion, and we need to be strong in that position so we can actually get into those positions. So, and this is gonna help you feel a lot better quickly. So we'll go through PNF stretching methods. So all PNF stretching really means, there's a couple different ways to do it, but one that I'm gonna highlight and that we're gonna do is a antagonist contraction with a contraction and an isometric hold. So essentially, we're gonna be doing that for our entire body or our major areas. So we'll work our hamstrings, we'll work our quads, we'll work our chest, we'll do some glute work. All of these are gonna help open you up and then solidify that new range of motion, because we developed this strength and told our body, hey, here's this new range of motion. Now we're getting strong in it, so I can now access it again and again and again. And as you do this over and over, you're gonna feel yourself be strong, more open, more pliable with implementing the PNF stretching methods and the isometric holds. After that, we're gonna do some mobility specific strength, and it's really just mobility, right? I say specific strength because I want you to understand that we're gonna have a little bit of weight with this. So I'm gonna be doing things that maybe I couldn't get into with the PNF method, and now I'm gonna be adding weight. So typically for me, this is a lot around the hips, this is around the shoulder joints. I'm utilizing that weight to, one, help me get into a deeper range of motion, but I am also going to be now strengthening in those areas. So we'll do mobility specific strength for about 5 minutes, and this is based on your own needs throughout the day. So if your hips are super tight, spend some more time doing it on the hips, right? If your upper body's super tight, spend some more time on the upper body. After that, this is optional, but I think everyone should implement it, and it's low intensity, steady state cardio, or what I call walking, okay? Walking is going to be one of the most restorative and beneficial things that you can do to help like speed up all the processes that your body needs. So when your body is recovering, it needs to be in a parasympathetic mode, right? So there's sympathetic, which is like your fight or flight, and then there's your parasympathetic, which is like your rest, digest, recovery, okay? Walking is the only parasympathetic type of cardio that you can do, and I highly recommend that you do it out of nature. You could even go barefoot too if you want to get some grounding in. You can look into grounding and how that helps as well. and it'll help you get the blood flowing again. It's extremely beneficial. It's what I preach to all of our athletes. If you want, you can do some jogging, maybe some light running, but again, I think walking is going to be the best thing for you, because again, recovery for this day is the main important, not stressing the body anymore and then having to recover from that. We want to maximize recovery on this. This could be anywhere 10-20 minutes, and if you really want to, you have extra time of the day, you can go 45 minutes, an hour if you really want to. Okay, the last thing after this, and this is something that I recommend you even do after the end of your sessions if you're really trying to get into that recovery mode so you can start the process of recovery faster after your workouts, which is some sort of parasympathetic breathing routine. So like a box breathing, one that we do that works really well, brings the nervous system back down, gets the heart rate down. As you elevate, you lay flat on your back, you elevate your feet up so your legs are at a 90 degree. You're resting totally completely, and you do a 5-second inhale, 2-second hold, 7-second exhale, 1 to 2 second hold, and you rinse and repeat for about, I don't know, anywhere from 8 to 16. It really depends. We're trying to get about 5-10 minutes of that if you can, if you have the time for it. So this is the active recovery sequence. It works really, really well. I hope this is helpful. If you're interested in performing better and being a better overall athlete for your sport or whatever it is, please let's hop on a call, and I will love to get to know you and your circumstances and see how I can help you become a better athlete. All right, see ya.